Hi, this is Mr. Sanders, and it's time to go for a class recap of our matrix math. So we'll be covering a few problems on adding, subtracting, multiplying by a scalar, then matrix multiplication, do a couple of problems, and finding 2 by 2 determinants. So let's get going. All right, this is an example of one of the first problems that we had to do, and it's straight matrix addition. This is a 3 by 2, and this is also a 3 by 2 matrix. 3 rows, 2 columns. The operation in the middle is addition. So what we're going to do is we're going to add by position. And that's the same way that we would do if we were subtracting. We take this top left, it goes with the top left. Top right goes with the top right. Middle left goes with middle left. Middle right goes with middle right. And for the bottom row here, the bottom left goes with the bottom left, and then the bottom right goes with the bottom right. Okay, so we have 3 by 2 and a 3 by 2, and our answer matrix will also be a 3 by 2. So sometimes it's helpful to draw the positions for your answers to keep track of what's going on. All right, 1 plus 3, that's 4. 5 plus 3 is 8. Negative 4 plus 6 is the same as 6 minus 4. That's 2. Negative 5 plus negative 1. If you've borrowed $5 and you borrow another dollar, you're in the hole. $6. Negative 4 plus negative 6. Borrow 4, borrow 6 more, you're in the hole. $10. Negative 5 plus a negative 1. Negative 6. And now let's go ahead and take a look, and we'll see that our answer is the same as the answer from the problem. So that's great. Let's move on to the next problem. This is an example of multiplying by a scalar. So this number, negative 3, will be distributed to each number here, to this 3, to the negative 4, to the 0, and to the 6. This is 4 rows by 1 column, so our answer will be 4 rows by 1 column. First, we'll draw our matrix, 4 by 1, and now let's go ahead and distribute this negative 3 to the numbers. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. And negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. All right, we have negative 9, 12, 0, and negative 18 as our answer. Let's see if that fits with, and we're correct. That's great. Let's move on to the next problem. This next problem involves subtraction, and this is a 1 by 3. 1 row, 3 columns, and this is a 1 by 3, so we can go ahead and do the math. And our answer matrix will also be a 1 by 3. So let's go ahead and draw our answer matrix brackets here and do the math. 1 minus 1 is 0. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. And now let's go ahead and compare our answer. We're right again. Great. Let's move on to the next problem. This is also multiplying by a scalar. This negative 3 will be distributed to the 6, the negative 4, and a 1. This is a 3 by 1, so our answer will also be a 3 by 1. Let's draw our brackets. And now we'll distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. Negative 3 times negative 4 is a positive 12. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And let's go ahead and compare our answer. Right again. Great. Matrix multiplication involves a couple of different things to do. We need to first, as always, compare the dimensions of our matrices to see if we can in fact do the multiplication. Then what we need to do is work row by column, and I'll show you that as we work out each step here. So first of all, this is a 2 by 2, and this is 2 rows by 3 columns. So this is a 2 by 3. These inner numbers are the same, so we're good to go. We can go ahead and actually do the multiplication. The outer numbers here, this 2 and this 3, those constitute the dimensions of our answer matrix. So we're going to end up with a 2 by 3 matrix here. Go ahead and draw our brackets right here. And we're going to have 2 rows by 3 columns. So might as well draw our placeholders here. And we're going to need a lot of space down here, so I'm going to erase some of this right here. Okay, as I said, we're going to go row by column. And what that means is we essentially rotate the -6 and the 3 90 degrees. So it would look like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the -6 and the 3, and we're going to multiply it by each column here. First with this -2 and -6, then with the 2 and the 1, and finally with the -5 and the 6. What I like to do, and what I'd like to tell my students, is to write these out here and then write these numbers next to it so that we can do the rest of the math, and we'll step across the columns. So here goes. -6 and 3, so we've taken the first row, we've rotated it 90 degrees. Now we need to apply it to the -2 and the -6. Just like that. We're going to multiply each, and then we're going to add the products and form a number here that'll go in the first position here in our answer matrix. Row 1, column 1, row 1, column 1. Row 1 with column 2, the answer goes to row 1, column 2. Row 1 with column 3, the answer goes to row 1, column 3. And as you might expect, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, here, row 2, column 3, here. But let's go through each of the steps. -6 times -2 is a +12. 3 times -6 is -18. We'll add these two together, and the answer is -6. And that -6 goes right there. We'll now step across to the second column of the second matrix. We're using our -6 and our 3 from row 1 from our first matrix, and it now goes with the 2 and the 1. -6 times 2 is equal to -12. 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to add the products. -12 plus 3 is -9, and the answer goes here, -9. Finally, stepping across, -6 and 3, and it goes with the -5 and the 6. Multiply and then add. -6 times -5 is +30. 3 times 6, 18. Add the products, we get 48, and that goes right here. And as you can see, we've literally done all the work for the first answer and all the work for the second answer and all the work for the third answer, and they go here. We'll now do the next set down here, and we just have the big version of this condensed matrix answer. So let's go ahead. We have a 5 and a -6. 5, -6, and that gets paired with -2 and -6. Another thing to notice is these are the numbers from column 1 in the matrix. These are the numbers from column 2. These are the numbers from column 3. So we can literally just look up here and remember what to put. We'll now multiply and then add. 5 times -2, -10. That's +36. 36 minus 10 is 26. That's going to go here. Next, so we have the 5 and the negative 6, and with the 2 and the 1. This is 10, negative 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. 4 goes here. 5, and negative 6. Negative 5 and 6. We get negative 25 and negative 36. Add those together. We're further in debt. We're negative 61, which goes right here. Now let's go ahead and check our answers with the answers from the problem set. There we go. Everything's right. Perfect. Let's move on to the last problem. The last problem in this set of basic matrix math work is also matrix multiplication. This is a 2 by 3, and this is a 3 by 2. Compare the inner numbers. They're both the same, so we're good to go. The outer numbers give us the size of our answer matrix, which will be a 2 by 2. Our brackets here. And let's get going just like we did with the other one. Our first row is 6, negative 5, and 5. So we'll go ahead and write 6, negative 5, and 5. And those will be multiplied with, just to do the visual again, first with these numbers, the 1, negative 1, and the negative 5, and then with the negative 5, the 0, and the 3. Then, of course, this second row will be written vertically and multiplied by these and then by those. So let's get going. 6 goes with the 1. Negative 5 goes with negative 1. And 5 goes with negative 5. We're going to multiply all three, then add them together to get our first number that goes in this 2 by 2. Because we're taking the first row with the first column, first row, first column. Row 1, column 2, row 1, column 2, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, row 2, column 2. Here we go. 6 times 1 is 6. Negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. This is 11. 11 minus 25 is negative 14. And that goes here. Reproduce this. 6, negative 5, and 5, which now go with negative 5, 0, and 3. Multiply and then add the products to form a matrix. 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. This is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. Negative 30 plus 15. You're in the hole 30 bucks. You pay off 15. You owe $15. Now we are set to do row 2, which is negative 4, negative 6, and negative 2. And those pair with, the numbers are right here, 1, negative 1, and negative 5. Multiply, then add the products. Negative 4 times 1, negative 4. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. 16 minus 4 is 12. Positive 12 goes here. The negative 4, the negative 6, the negative 2 now pair with negative 5, 0, and 3. Multiplying, we get a positive 20, we get 0, and we get a negative 6. Add those, 20 minus 6 is 14. And let's see, our answers are the same. Great. Okay, so that covers the basic work we've done with adding and subtracting, multiplying by a scalar, and doing some fundamental matrix multiplication. The next thing for us to cover is going to be finding 2 by 2 determinants. That's in our next video.